Thank you for your post. In this video, I'm just going to clarify how they got the answers for these absolute value questions. So first of all, let's look at question 51, which is they want us to rewrite all of these expressions without absolute value bars. So we have 300 in absolute value bars, and what it is written without the absolute value bars is asking for, on a number line, what is the distance between 0 and 300, which will be the same distance between 0 and negative 300. And in both cases, the distance between 0 and positive 300 is going to be positive 300, and the distance between 0 and negative 300 is a distance again of positive 300. So when we write this number without absolute value bars, it's just going to be positive 300. So that's question 51. Question 53, instead of a number in the absolute value bars, it's the expression 12 subtract pi. When you're doing a question like this where there isn't a number but rather an expression, the first step you need to do is to calculate this number, because we want to know if this expression is positive or negative overall. So over here on the side, I'm going to write 12 minus pi, and I can put that into my calculator. If I have a scientific calculator, there will be a symbol for pi on your calculator. If you don't have that symbol, then we know that we can use the number 3.14 as an approximate value for pi. But pi actually is a very long decimal to it. So to get a perfectly precise number for pi, it's best to use the symbol, but if we can't use the symbol, we can round off to 3.14. So when I put that into my calculator, 12 minus 3.14, I get the decimal rounded off of 8.86. Now if you put in the exact pi, you're going to get even more decimals, but it's never going to be the most precise number because it's a non-ending decimal. It's going to keep on going forever. So because the expression inside the absolute values is going to be positive, then that means that we can keep the expression as is. So whenever you have an expression inside absolute value bars, if the overall calculation is a positive number, we're just going to keep it as is. And the correct format for writing out an expression as an answer is that you want to have your positive number first, then your negative value second. So in this case, we have written it in the right format. We do have our positive number first, or our positive value first, and then followed by our negative value. So this is the right format for this type of question. That's going to come up when we do this next question, which is question 55. So in question 55, again, we have an expression inside the absolute value bars, and they want us to rewrite that without the absolute value bars. So again, I'm going to go on my calculator and I'm going to put in the square root of 2 subtract 5. So when I put that into my calculator, I get the square root of 2 is 1.414. It's a non-repeating decimal that goes on and on and on. And then I'm going to subtract 5 from that, and then I'm going to get a very long answer, negative 3.58, and that's going to keep on going. So it's a non-repeating decimal that keeps on going, and it's negative. Whenever you have an expression that is negative inside the absolute value bars, when you rewrite it, you have to rewrite it with a negative outside of the parentheses and then the expression inside. And then the next step is to apply that negative to both values in outside the parentheses. So we're going to get negative square root of 2, and then the negative applied to the negative 5 is going to give us positive 5. Now there's one last step that we have to do. We have to rewrite the answer in the form of our positive value and then our negative value. And that's why we have to bring up the positive 5. So we just have to rearrange the answer so that it complies with the grammatical form of positive value subtract the negative, or subtract, and then the negative value. So that answers your question of why we had to rewrite the answer in this format instead of keeping it in this format here. Okay, for number 57, we have negative 3 over the absolute value of negative 3. So this is, I'm going to rewrite it in the form of a fraction without the absolute value bars. So the absolute value of negative 3 becomes positive 3. And then when you take negative 3 divided by positive 3, you're going to get negative 1. So that's the reason why you got this one wrong, is that you just needed to include that negative sign in your answer. And then lastly, 59, you're going to have absolute value of the absolute value of negative 3 subtract the absolute value of negative 7. So you want to do the innermost absolute value bars first. So the absolute value of negative 3 becomes positive 3. Subtract the absolute value of negative 7, which becomes positive 7. And then we're going to take the absolute value of that. So 3 subtract 7 is going to be the absolute value of negative 4. And then the absolute value of negative 4 is just going to be positive 4. And that's how you get the answer to 59. So I hope this helps in clarifying how to write absolute value expressions in proper format and the difference between a precise answer and a rounded off answer. So this is precise and this is rounded off, and in our answers we always go for the more precise answer. So if you have further questions on this, please post below, and I have no problem. I love clarifying. So thanks so much for posting, and I hope this helps. Bye for now.